Hello. I'm at the end of my weekend off from work. Wrapping up chores and stuff. I was watching a video about like being estranged from your parents, but it was directed at the estranged parent. And I really respect the person who was talking. His name is Patrick Tehan. I highly recommend. If you're coming from cptsd and particularly like abuse within the family, and particularly like when you were raised, and he was talking a lot about boundary crossing. And it can be really validating to hear, reasons that I was drawing on to make decisions that I have to be no contact for 18 years now. But I also knew, like, the way, whatever he addressed towards the parents, I knew that would be helpful to me, to kind of get, especially since I'm older now, to kind of get a perspective for, like, what my mom was doing, and also to kind of, like, glean, like, little things that I am guilty of doing, because that's what I saw. That's how I saw, my caretaker interact with different kinds of situations, and so sometimes it will still be my default, and it's not helpful for good, healthy responses. Anyway, I'm fucking covered in poison ivy. Oh my god, it's the first time I've had it on my face too. I've been so worried that it's gonna get in my eyes. Anyway, so I wanted to talk about when I left my family when I was 19. Just because I'm starting to see. I mean, I already knew, and I'm very proud of myself that, like, as soon as I understood that I did have some modicum of agency as an adult and could cut contact if I wanted to cut contact, I was like, oh shit, I can cut contact? That's an option. Which is kind of hilarious because my mom cut contact with her family before I was growing up, like, and so I've often thought, if nothing else, like, I wonder if she understands, like, that pattern. Like, she kind of taught me that was an option, and that was an acceptable option, and, like, it's doable, right? Because I was raised without any extended family. It was just my mom and my sister. And when I left, I was in college, and I went to my mom and I were living at my sister's house, and the guy that I was dating at the time let me shack up with him for a couple of days, and then we went and got a car full of my stuff, some of which I still have, and moved me out. And then I changed my phone number and blocked them on Facebook and didn't tell them where I moved. And so, like, a big one is that my older sister did not know how to do anything better than how my mom was doing things, unfortunately. And so I wasn't sure I realized that what I was doing was divisive, potentially, between us, but my sister has always had my mom's back. And always, took us back in and shit like that when my mom bottomed out. And, so something my sister did was got on Facebook and reached out to a bunch of people that I was going to school with in college, and offered to pay them if they told her where I was living. And that resulted in me coming home from school one day, and my sister was there with cops and wanted to talk to me, and like left an envelope of pictures that she had like reconnected with her dad, who had molested her when she was a toddler and who was also like into neo-Nazi shit. So like, thanks. But I would go into the music department office, and because for a while my advisor was also the chairman of the department, and so I go in there for different reasons. But I went in one time, and the nice young woman who worked behind the desk kind of looked at me and she's like, your mom called a few times again today? And I was just like, yeah, I'm sorry. And I kept walking. And she emailed all of my professors and said that I had been kidnapped by the guy that I was dating. And which is, yeah, anyway. And then they showed up at my then boyfriend's workplace. Thankfully, they never showed up at mine. But they showed up at his workplace with picket signs saying like don't live in fear or something. And I'm thinking like, yeah, that's why I left. My boyfriend was an absolute piece of shit and was very abusive. However, there were two reasons that I stayed as long as I did. For one, I didn't know how to leave. For another, because guess what? I had never been equipped with any of that, or watched it happen successfully. It was always just my sister kind of rescuing my mom and I. And also, it wasn't ever as bad as it happened when with my mom. And then they did show up at school one time during like a what was it? I was working a freshman orientation, because by then I was a sophomore or junior, and the school had asked me to help in a variety of ways with the freshman orientation. And so they showed up, and that was the last time that I talked to my mom. And I was grateful my then boyfriend was there for moral support, and he did exactly the right thing, which was he posted up in the corner and sat down calmly and stayed out of it. He was just kind of there literally for support. And I was really proud. I've always been really proud of my 19-year-old self. for telling my mom that, like, you know, this is unacceptable and, like, why would I be coming back? But something else I've been thinking about a lot lately is just I'm realizing that lack of ability to just address something directly is because my mom didn't know how to do that. She never knew how to address me directly as her child about anything. She would say something about over there. She would say something, you know, passive aggressive in front of you. She would look at you, look away, and be like, "Oh, I just," and it's just like, you could ask me, you could tell me, you could explain to me. And so, yeah, I'm 37. I'm still learning how to, like, address things head on with people. Anyway, have a good night.